guys, it is your boy Ricky Cheese here with the FloridaWrestling.com and the official podcast, The Morning Grind. Today we've got a very special guest. I've got entrepreneur and very, very, very good wrestling coach, Coach Jeff Estrada. Jeff, good morning and thank you for coming on the show.
Morning.
How's everything going?
Doing good this morning?
Getting your morning coffee in?
Yeah, I am. I need to get some of that coffee you got.
Oh
I
man,
always see the ad. I'm always like, I need to get some of that stuff for a little while.
yeah, yeah, Cauliflower Ear Coffee Company. They're one of the sponsors of the show. It's some good stuff. I'll get some to you. Um, Real quick, let's just jump right into this. For the people who may not know you, Jeff, tell us a
Yeah.
little about Jeff Estrada. How did wrestling become such a big part of your life?
Uh, I mean, that's like a two-part. I wrestled in junior high. My stepfather, I played soccer my whole life. And then in seventh grade, I was on a team that was pretty solid, but they split in half and the coaches went two different directions. And I went on the team that wasn't very good. And so I didn't really like it anymore. And in seventh grade, my stepfather, who had he actually took seventh at JUCO Nationals for SIUE in Illinois,
Yeah.
said you should try wrestling. And so I went out for the team. I made varsity as a seventh grader in a town called Granite City and at Grigsby. And then I wrestled the next 6 years of my life. Was a four-time varsity letterman at Granite City High School. Was a three-time state qualifier. I actually, semi-sad story, but like I made weight. I didn't make weight my junior year. I was in the semis and I didn't make weight. And just after that kind of went downhill and didn't do anything. I didn't wrestle for after high school for 5 years, but I actually got pulled back into it from my high school coach. He talked me into going out for a JUCO college called Merrimack Junior College with a guy named Ron Americatani. He's a inductee Hall of Fame in Missouri. Um, Great guy. Him and his son took me in. I was actually pretty bad off. I was on ankle monitor. I'd been in a bunch of trouble. Been in a gang. My junior year in high school, I ran away from school. I ran away from home and just lived on the streets for 10 years. It was pretty
Wow.
rough, but wrestling was like constant in my life. Like I was that guy that was wrestling everybody at the parties. And as soon as I got out of jail, actually, and my coach came and found me and he said, "Hey, you got to do something, man. And you're too talented." And I said, "Who's going to take me on an ankle monitor, man?" And he said, "I know this guy over in Missouri named Ron Americatani who is like kind of into helping people like this." And he took me in and I wrestled 2 years. I was a JUCO national qualifier. And then I wrestled for Missouri Baptist for half a semester, but I had a kid and I had just gotten married and it was just really hard to carry that load. I was working a midnight job, wrestling in the morning, wrestling at night, carrying school. I was 26. I wasn't like 19. So
Right.
I actually stopped. And then I turned around and I was roofing on a roof. And Coach Jay Gregerson down in Naples?
Yep.
Yeah, his father came on a roof and said, "Hey, man, I need you to coach my son." And I said, I don't coach wrestling. I'm roofing. Get off this roof." And he said, "Well, I'll buy you dinner." And I said, "Well, I'll do whatever for dinner." And so he came and convinced me to start a club with his son. His two sons. They were in sixth and seventh grade. Jake Gregerson. So he was my first wrestler ever. From that point on, that was in 2005 in Illinois, in Granite City, Illinois. From then on, I've been coaching. So I coached 5 years in Illinois, uh, 11 years in Colorado. I had a club. I was on the board there for Colorado USA Wrestling. And then halfway through, I transitioned to California because my daughter wanted to be a California state champ because that was the only place we'd heard girls wrestle. So my daughter went and was a two-time California state champ. I lived in Selma, California, and coached a bunch of guys there. Down in LA for a year. Had a club in Idaho for 5 years called Idaho Sons of Thunder while we were in Colorado. And then I went to Hilton Head Island and lived for 6 years while my second daughter, Zao, wrestled through high school. And so now I've been here for about I think I'm going on my third year of coaching, but living here for about a year and a half.
That's awesome. And I want to go back to the whole ankle monitor thing because it's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah,
I remember back in
yeah,
2016 or 2017, there was a kid from Southridge High School, and my son wrestled him, and he walked on the mat and he had an ankle monitor on. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
yeah,
So I'm like, I told my son, I said, this kid's
yeah.
gonna be tough. He goes, why? I go, he's got an ankle monitor on. He's no punk. Trust me. He's been around the block a few times. He knows what's up. And he was very tough. I think he wound up placing third in the state. My kid won it, but I think he took third. He's a very tough kid. But anyways, I thought that was pretty cool that you mentioned that. A lot of people wouldn't talk about the past, but the past is what got you to where you're at right now, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely, that's probably the hardest thing for people to either overcome. Like they look at me and they're like, look at this guy tatted up and he's kind of rough. And I'm like, well, yeah, I grew up really rough. I don't know what to say, but I've
Right.
transformed my life. I haven't, done anything. I mean, this is 2000 and I was 17 years old.
Right.
I was 15 years old when I ran away from home, and I mean, I
Yeah, you're a
haven't been
kid.
in any trouble in 20 years. I've been a part of USA Wrestling for 20 years.
Yep.
It's not, but it is something that I talk about a lot. I tell my testimony a lot at churches, or I work with a lot of troubled youth because it's not that people weren't there for me, but nobody really just gripped a hold of my life and said, "Hey, kid, you're messing
Right.
up. You got to." I mean, my parents were. Everybody's parents do, right? But nobody just took me along the way. That's kind of what my purpose is now, is
Right.
finding these kids. I run a great club. I do a lot of things like that, but
Hey, knock it
really,
off.
it's to create this environment. Hey, don't worry, I got dogs barking the same. All
Yeah, she
right, we're
gets
here.
a
We're here with
little,
Coach Estrada while Ricky's taking care of the dogs.
yeah, she gets
No, I'm
she
the
gets a
same. I've
little
got a dog
crazy.
underneath my leg. I'm betting. It does. It does.
Dude, this dog will
But
chase lizards, frogs, squirrels, whatever. She barks at everything.
yeah. I got 4 dogs. I breed. I'm a breeder, so
I know that.
my wife was like, "We only need 2 dogs." I'm like, "I need 4 dogs," and now I'm like, "I can't believe I got 4 dogs. This
Yeah,
is a lot."
yeah. My
But
wife
yeah.
wants to breed her. She wants
So
to keep one of her puppies. I'm like, come on, man. One is enough. She wants.
yeah, it's the hardest, dude.
Yep.
We wanted to keep all 10 the first time we did it.
I know. You fall in love with them,
But
man.
yeah,
They're unbelievable. So I want to
you
jump
do.
into
You do.
your wrestling business. We'll get back to the wrestling in a minute, but wrestling's exploded in
Yeah.
popularity, especially with the youth and the girls wrestling growing at a ridiculous rate. What are you seeing from the business side that tells you wrestling really is growing?
I mean, let me think about that. That's a pretty good question.
Thank you.
What do I see from the business side? I mean, first off, we can kind of jump around in my timeline, but 2008, I moved to Colorado. 2000, and I take over a program at a place called Ponderosa High School. They were at the time the 8-time defending state champs. I think we ended up being 12 times. So they hold the record still in Colorado. Top 20 team in the country. Super awesome. I coached there for like 4 years, and I was roofing still. Working a job, trying to do what I do right now, full time, like dying, like just all day long roofing, coming in, taking out my work problems on my wrestlers, just practice planning in the car. I think when I get there, I'm going to teach this. And so I started a school. I actually went to all the parents and I said, "Hey, look, I was on my way to California to surf, and I stopped in Colorado and lived for a decade. So I'm on my way. I want to go and live in California if." We can't do something that pays me to do this, because at the time, like, people don't understand. Like, I'm okay with non for profits. I got one that I use specifically to help kids that are so underprivileged. I have 10 kids on scholarship in my club. People don't usually know that. There's rumors Coach Strada charges $800,000 an hour. You got to go to his club. No, man, it's pretty simple. Parents, if the parents aren't involved, I get involved. If they want to show me their taxes and they make low amount of money and they're on government, I'm helping kids out all the time. We have a policy: no one left behind. Right? I take kids to tournaments all the time for free. So, but you know, you want to do it for free and volunteer, that's great, but you're only going to be able to sacrifice so much time. And to
Correct.
put kids on the world team, We're not, you're not, you probably aren't, you might be a teacher and do that, but you're not going to be a guy working at, a full-time job in construction and get off work by, 4 o'clock and practice plan and do it year round. It just doesn't happen. And if you do, congratulations, you're called an anomaly. You're not normal, right? And so in 2000, and it was about 2010, I was like, I got to do this. I can't do it anymore. We're starting a school. So actually, I don't, doesn't matter what a ton of people, LOG, you know those guys? LOG from, with, they have a school, like all these micro schools. There is no such thing. I started the first wrestling academy. I had 40 kids. We did PE for wrestling with kindergartners, right? That was 15 years ago. I did it in Colorado. No one had heard of it. LOG, all these schools started coming over and visiting me, being like, how are you doing this? And I was like, well, we hooked up with this school. And so that aspect has grown so big that, especially in a state like Florida, anybody can go and have a school right now. It's a right to education school. So you want to, and when I say a school, I'm not talking like they don't have, hired in teachers. They're doing homeschool. I actually had hired in teachers. I had two teachers that had master's degrees. They were teaching the language arts and they were teaching the math. We had 60% online, 40% offline, blended learning. Kids were in my brick and mortar. I had 60 to 100 kids throughout 7 years. It was called Universal Learning Center. We practiced right after school. We did PE for wrestling. A lot of people don't know that because it doesn't exist anymore. There's a club in Colorado called Black Fox. They're the third largest club in America right now, like 380 members. Luke Morris was my partner. We partnered up on this thing and we ran this school. And tons of athletes that people know now, Moshe Schwartz, uh, Colton Schultz. Colton Schultz at ASU was my first kid who did this school with me, lived at a gym with me. We trained 8 hours a day, all day long, crazy stuff, right? No one else had heard of it. And then Drew Eller, he was a four-timer from Georgia, undefeated four-timer, right? He went to my school from the time he was like in third grade till he graduated to high school,
Wow.
right? These guys, and so we saw that growth. Now you're going to see the same thing in Florida with this, with everybody popping off with these micro schools, these academies, whatever they're doing. You're going to see this massive growth, and it's money for them because they don't, now the parents don't all have to pay. They can pay from their step up, right?
Right.
So everybody's got step up that the government's giving them money, and it's actually smart because the government's letting them do what they want with their money. They can use it for their training, for travel, for their gear. I mean, it's endless with Step Up, and it's not illegal. Like it's not like someone's being like, "Hey, I'm paying this guy for math tutors. We're wrestling, right?" It's legitimately paying for PE classes, and so that's the business aspect of it. Step Up is huge, and I'm so old school. I haven't got into Step Up yet, but like I know Jake, and I know the Gladiators that just changed their like
Yeah.
name to RTC. They're all doing Step Up. I actually had a talk with the son for like 2 hours. He was like, how he knew me. I don't know. A lot of people don't know, but he knows. Him and his dad know. His dad knew me, for 20 years when I would bring these homeschool kids. Because when you're homeschooled, you can go anywhere. I
Yeah.
can take 20 kids right now and I can drive them to Nebraska and we can train Greco at an RTC for 2 weeks. And then I can come right back and we can get back in folk style, right? So it's endless what you can do. So they came and were like, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a lot different what I did, but here's what I would do," And then, so those are popping off. You're gonna see tons of those in Florida because Florida's so awesome with their right to education and homeschool rules. You know,
Yeah. There's a ton of gear companies out there right now. I'm getting contacted all the time. Hey man, can you promote my gear? Hey man, can you advertise for me? Hey man, can you do it? Blah 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 blah. There's so many. What makes first of all, what's the name of your gear company? It's Rad, right?
it's called Radical Wrestling Gear, Rad Wrestling from the old '80s movie Rad.
Yeah.
Kind of like incorporated their logo, but it's Radical Wrestling Gear. And then for short, it's Rad Wrestling.
Okay, so what separates Rad Wrestling from the millions of other gear companies that are out there? Because there's a million of them, but your stuff really
Yeah,
stands out. I love it. It's cutting edge. It's it's things that others try to imitate but just can't get it right. Like your jams are fucking awesome. So
yeah.
what separates Rad from all the others?
Man, that's a hard question because I'm in this place right now where I'm trying not to like be like, oh, I got the best of everything. My
But you
club's the
do.
best. You know, like it's
But you
there's
do.
a fine line between being like humble and still saying like, hey man, this is it. And so I would probably say that one, my experience again, and people in Florida are probably like, "Who is this guy, and why do people?" But like, I can't. Like, I posted my resume right now online; it would fill the whole picture, right? I've
Yeah.
been coaching for 22 years without a single break. I've never. I don't take days off. I don't. When we go on vacation in Tulsa, when I go on vacation, like we're going to Sweden, that's our vacation. But we're wrestling in a 7-day camp with kids, and then we're doing a tournament. Like
Nice.
what probably separate? I own Funky Flicker Boys. A lot of people don't know that. I owned the company Funky Flicker Boys before they made the shoes. Okay, so I don't have a bunch of shoes. Don't contact me and ask me for shoes. Okay, I owned it with, it was created on Flickr, and it, again, 20 years ago, almost. It's probably about 18 maybe, but I created that company and I drove around in a bus all over the country with Funky Flicker Boy gear and traded it and sold it. Like the black market, I was doing black market, and before people were doing black market. Like
Yeah.
I had a bus outside that people could come shop in, and so I think one, my experience and how long I've been doing gear, right? Not a lot of people in their corporate world and they're in the high level that they've been doing it as long as I. Two, I'm ground level. When you text Radical Wrestling Gear to get a quote for some gear, it's me, right? Can I do that maybe, maybe not. That's kind of like my magic. Like people are like, well, where do we buy your gear? Well, you buy it from me. You got to text me. School. You got to go to my go to my Instagram page. And like that. He's throwing up there my dummy site. I have that site because parents are like, hey, we want to buy from you, but we're not just going to text you and Venmo you some money. I'm like, all right, here, go to the site. You're going to pay more. That site costs money to run. People don't understand that. I'm really underground. I'm trying to save people money. So that's probably the third aspect. I got a lot better prices than normal people. I'm doing it. Yes, of course. Everything I do, I'm going to make money on. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
I had a fight coach a long time ago who said, "Sell yourself for $1. That's the value of yourself." But my what I do for my gear is, it's unique. Like you said, I try to do only the cutting edge stuff. Like if someone says, "Hey, I want this singlet," and it just says, you know, JF High School. I'm not really probably gonna make that. I'm gonna be like, go to Rudis. They're gonna cut you out a nice cookie cutter singlet. Like I'm trying to make cutting edge designs, things people, and I do a lot of streetwear infusion. So like this shirt I got on, the Miyagi mindset, but it has rat
Yeah.
on the headgear and on the back I put Daniel-san in a singlet.
I love
But
it.
I try to take things of the world that are like streetwear are like cool and I infuse them, right? Like all the food singlets you see. I don't like. I'll be prideful about it, I guess, but I don't. I started that 15 years ago making food singlets. Nobody made those, and I made a killing. I'd go to tournaments and sell all kinds of singlets, Shrek, rest, super Farquaad. Like I just my mind thinks like that, so I just come up with these really cool ideas. Like I'm doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Wrestling Club jams with a Teenage Mutant Ninja backpack with a shirt, right? And I just kind of like infuse all that. So I think I have cutting edge stuff, but everybody does have a gear company, and you can choose to go with whoever. And it doesn't. I'm always good with everybody.
Yeah.
Beware of all the Pakistan guys and guys that just started their company. Somebody meets a Pakistan guy and they think I'll start a company. First thing I'd ask everybody is, do you have an LLC? Can I see your paperwork? I'd never buy gear from someone who didn't have an LLC. Who
Right.
was doing, that's just somebody who met somebody who accidentally did some gear. And I'm really good too. Like you want a real good USA gear company. There's a in Colorado. They have a gear company. They make it directly in Colorado, 100% USA made. A lot of companies don't do that. I don't do that. I'm not making it in my basement. But there is, a ton of companies that do that. Support those companies if that's what you want. I'll lead you to other companies even if they got products that I don't have and they're good dudes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, one of my favorite products that you produce are the jams. I love them. I think they're awesome. You got to tell me how that came about. What I think is you were seeing kids cutting all their good shit up, and you're like, wait a second, this is like a fashion statement. Let me see what I can do with this. Kind of tell me how that came about.
I think my greatest things come out of anger from me. What happened was is I made a pair of awesome sweatpants for my athletes, and I handed them all out as gifts to the state champs and the placers, and someone cut them up the next practice. I said, dude, what did you do to my sweatpants? An $80 pair of sweatpants I made them. And they're like, oh, coach, this is the style. And I was like, bro, I could have just made you a pair like that. He
Right.
was like, really? So that's how it kind of started. I was like, okay. So I threw a pair, I made a pair like that. And then they were like, these legs suck. I was like, all right, let me do this. Okay. All right, let me do this. All right. And you're right. Right now, I feel like my bottom of my leg is hemmed. Like I inch the hem out. It kind of flares out for the shoes of the wrestlers. I think it's a very unique. All my jams are embroidered. I can do screen print if people want it, but they're fully embroidered. So and I got a lot of people right now. I just made some for some Stanford kids. I got about 5, 6 teams that I'm working with. But again, I do gear. Like yes, make money. It's fun, but it's like I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna use the gear money, right? I'm not. I want to do it because I want to. I was so tired. I had a gear company. I worked with a gear company, and I was ordering gear, and I had ordered 60 singlets. And I came back and said, hey, I had 2 new kids join. Can I get 2 singlets? And they were like, no, minimum of 10. And I was like, sorry, that sucks. I mean, and so that's why I do it. I want someone to come and be like, dude, just had a new kid join. I'm sorry. Can we throw in can I get in that? Give me a couple weeks. Let me get it done. I just want to be there for the coaches who, aren't sponsored by Nike, sponsored by Rudis, right? I mean, my high school's sponsored by Nike. Well, where's your gear at? Well, it takes 18 weeks for Nike to get it to us. So it was like one of those things. So, my jams are definitely the hottest product I make right now. I think I make some unique bags. Bag. I got a couple new bags I got coming out. So stuff like that. I just try to stay with the very unique. I do the short sleeve crew necks that are 3/4 sleeves. A lot of people like those. Stuff like that.
I love your the North Bay Haven hockey jersey. That's awesome.
Hmm.
You sent me one. I wear it all the time. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool looking.
And
Core Deloach
I
wears it
really
all the
feel like
time.
that's what I do good. I make gear that you can wear out. you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Let me ask you this. What do you think wrestlers and parents are looking for when they buy wrestling gear today? Quality or coolness or a combination?
Coolness. Kids are looking for coolness. Parents are looking for something that lasts.
Yeah.
Wrestlers are hard, gritty, grindy. I don't know how they think they're gonna. Like I saw a commercial the other day. Like we do I like doing parodies. I like making fun of people. I probably shouldn't sometimes, but I was gonna do a parody to be like, our singlets are lifetime guaranteed. That means you can pass it down to your grandkids. And your grandkids can come to my grandkids and get the singlet replaced if you still got it. I mean, I saw a Funky Flicker Boy singlet at the last tournament that was at least a decade old.
Yeah.
Like, it just matters how hard you are on gear.
Yeah.
My club's working out twice a day, 7 times a week. How long you think a shirt's gonna last? you know. So I think parents are looking for how good the gear is, and uh, coaches and kids, that's the epic part of gear. The epic part is the kids want something cool, the coaches want something that they can wear. And I really try to break it down to between them and be like, Coach, look, I get you your own set of stuff. But the kids want this cool singlet design. They don't want something that just has 2 lines on it. Kids are really big into polos right now. I'm pumping out polos for kids left and right. Stuff like
That's the
that.
new
So,
trend. Polos are the new trend.
oh, for sure, for sure. Everybody's going to be in a polo this year. Every
What
high
kind
school
of
kid
polos are you
warming up
what
in
do they look like?
polos.
What do they look like?
Just standard. I mean, you can do anything. Like a lot of them are standard, just high school logo here, something here. A lot of them, I'm doing 4 or 5 right now that have like hashtag on the back, or I just did a whole team where every kid got their Instagram hashtag on the back,
Oh, that's
and
sick.
so they all kind of, just wait. Yeah, just the way social media is going. Yeah, that's the thing you usually can't get from like a big company. Like I'll go in and slowly, I'll put it on every pattern, make sure that they get what they're looking for. Hashtag on the sleeve. You know, I did a hashtag too flashy on a sleeve with some tiger marks, and then fully supplemented ones. You know, I still got those. Gregerson, we all know how he dresses. He'll get, you know, he's flashy as coming his whole club. So he's
Yeah.
doing full sublimated, cool pink, orange, red stuff. We actually went back to our old black and gold colors. So everybody will be knowing us when we come across the state from 10 different locations.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you see people kind of stealing your ideas yet? Like the whole hashtag thing? Nobody's doing that but
Oh man,
you. Really?
no, the jam everybody's stealing now. I saw like five different, and again, I used to get real mad and be like, "They stole my idea," but it's flattering, right? I just wish every once in a while they'd be like, "Hey, this guy that made these first, but we making them now." Like even if they made a funny video like that, he
Right.
used to make them, now we make them, ha ha ha.
Right.
But it's always like, you know, I mean that whole sweatpants thing happened a year and a half ago. I worked on these jams for a year straight to come up with the best. So, but I mean, it's like anything else. It's like songs, right? Someone's going to say a lyric of someone else said 10 years ago. Everything rotates, everything happens. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting back to the wrestling, if you could sit down with every wrestling parent in the state of Florida for just 5 minutes, what's the one thing you would make sure to tell
Mhm.
them?
Empty the pocketbook. Believe in your athlete. I mean, that's all you can do. Mr.
Yeah.
Kroom, I hope you get a chance to have him on and talk about the planner. But um,
Yeah, he's
that
coming
came
on
out,
Wednesday.
I'm assuming because, oh, awesome. Just our schedule is intense. Like people don't really realize. I mean, not just going to the local tournaments. I've got an out of state schedule that is at least once a month. I mean, I literally last night I got on. I mean, it's a grind. I tell my parents all the time it's a triangle, right? They're at the top, our athletes at the top. I'm over here. They're right here. Any part of that triangle breaks and we're in trouble. So we have to grind constantly. I had to go on last night on my group me and say, hey guys, there's only 4 people going to the Grapple Fall Classic. We should have at least 15. There,
Right.
if you don't go to the Grapple, don't come to me and say you want to be a state champ.
Right.
We have 2 state champs, undefeated state champs, Kendall Haney and Jasper Kroom. If you're not doing what they're doing, I don't like. If you become a state champ, awesome. Defy the odds. We'll make a movie out of it. I don't know what to say, but right now that's not the case.
Right.
Everybody, Jasper did more than anybody, and he earned more than anybody, right? And so he travels everywhere with me,
Right. Because
you
he has
know,
the
and it's
parental
hard.
support.
I mean, it's expensive.
He has the support from his
Yes.
parents, and
Well,
that's what it takes. People, get out there, spend the money, get your kids the top competition, no matter where it's at, and it's going to pay dividends.
yes. And find your. I really truly believe in this. There's a guy named Lucas Stelt. He's a Greco guy up in Wisconsin, and he's great. You should go follow him. You would love his stuff. He's like on the edge.
Yeah, I
But
will.
he's a private coach. I really think that there has to become in the future this okay, you have to become okay with having what's called a private coach, a guy who tells you, I want to be a D1 wrestler. Cool. Here's the path in which I create, right?
Hmm.
Can people get their way? Sure. But this is the path. I'm working with athletes right now that belong to other clubs, actually, right? My club has, like, I'm really biblical sometimes when I explain things, and it probably annoys people, but Jesus had a bunch, then he had 12, then he had 3, right? My club is like the mall. I offer whatever you want. You want to come once a month and work out with just champs? Do it. You want to belong to a different club? You want to wear whatever? I don't care. You want to be really to me like Jasper is? You know, you want me to you want me to do this midnight run and get a hotel and we just lay in and wrestle all day and drive all the way back to the night. I'm there too. You know, so these parents, what happens is these parents don't. They don't believe in the athlete, put the money out. Then they don't believe in the coach enough to trust the process, right? Talking, when I met Jasper's dad and his dad, it was like am I still there?
Yeah, you're here.
My phone says reconnecting. Okay, it said reconnecting. But we sat down and we had this plan that we're constantly pushing, to get Jasper where they want to be. It's like, okay, what do we got to do? Well, we got to do this. We got to do this. Let's keep doing it, and find a club that's going to travel. You cannot just stay. We're really unfortunate because we're Tampa. You can go. We can go this weekend. We could have went to a tournament in Tampa if we live down there, right? But
Yeah.
we don't have a tournament near us. If we do, 80 kids, 50 kids. Nobody's pushing Jasper. To push Jasper, we got to go pretty far. Or, we got to go to Tampa. So we just have to build this regiment. I mean, girls wrestling, people don't even, they're going to look around and they're going to be like, where's Nova? And I'm going to be like, we're at college opens. We ain't, I mean, we're going to get throttled. We're not trying to just stick around and wrestle the same people for the next decade. I mean, we're going to take the high road, and we're going to travel around and we're going to go overseas and we're going to do what we think is going to be successful. I'm taking 15 kids to Sweden. That's huge. Some of the parents, that kid's not ready for Sweden. He didn't even play. We're going to play for Sweden, and I'm going to come back and be like, bro, you just wrestled Swedish people, Germans, and other countries. These ain't that tough. And so they just don't see that nobody's ready for anything. How about that? That's what when you keep questioning, is that kid ready for Coastal Nationals? No. It's a huge light show and crazy. They're not ready. Just take them, let them see, build into it. Are they ready for the U.S. Open? No. Don't wait till you're ready. You're gonna be a junior, or senior, and then you're still not gonna be ready. You're gonna get there and be like, oh, Jordan Burroughs, I'm not ready, right? You're just never ready. You can't, how it
I
is, like the
love
state
that. I
tournament. You've
love
seen
that
guys
thought
show up
process.
there. Yeah, you're not ready. Go anyhow.
Yeah, I love that thought process with you. You're doing the one thing that a lot of coaches are not. Some coaches are, but a lot of coaches are not. You're taking these kids to chase losses. And I love that. You're not afraid to lose. I absolutely love that. That's an important part of growth. Do you agree with that? Losing is part of the growth?
Listen, I am very real and raw in everything I do and I say, and so I don't hold back, and even to my failure.
Hey,
And my oldest daughter and even Zayo, both my older kids, suffered more than any kid I had trained because they never took no losses.
yeah,
My older kids Jersey never lost to anybody until World Team Trials. You know how devastating that is to a kid? The
yeah,
only loss they have, my daughter, for 4 years straight, her only loss was either the Fargo Finals or World Team Trials. We took 2 losses a year. That was devastating to her. And it wasn't that we weren't chasing losses. We just didn't care. We were chasing actually boys wins. And that was so huge that girl coaches and parents don't even want to talk about.
right.
I advocated. I was like, we wrestle boys, kill the boys. And not now I'm like, please just let your daughter wrestle other girls because my girls couldn't handle it. My girls couldn't handle losing the girls. I got a picture I'll send you of my daughter on the podium with David Carr. He took third. My daughter took fifth at a national tournament. I am the guy who chased my Zayo wrestled 4 years in South Carolina as a three-time boys high school state placer. No one's going to tell me anything about that, but I'm telling you now on here that chasing girls, wrestling boys is going to devastate them at some point in time if they don't get ready to wrestle girls. They're
Right.
going to struggle to lose to girls. They're going to think that they're better, and my daughter's thought I should never lose to a girl. I thought that. I was like, what's a girl doing beating my daughter? My daughter just lost to AJ Ferrari, Florida 3. You know, wrestling is styles, and so I was totally destroyed my relationship with my 2 older girls. God brought it back, restored it fully, and we're doing good now. We still have rocky days. The rest of the college, but they're not, you know, probably doing the everything they could be. But with just kind of sat back and said, "Hey, this is your ship. You drive it, but I'm here to navigate. If you say
Yeah.
you want to be this, I'm gonna hold you to that standard. If you want to do this, I'll take you to here. But I'm not gonna make you. Not like she's gonna get up in a little while and go. She doesn't. I'm not gonna say anything. That's on her. I can't make her do anything anymore, and I can't And I think that's the biggest thing that parents are doing right now. Like I had a little guy. I coach people. I only have 4 year high school kids. I have a group. I have 10 3 to 5 year olds right now. We call Jeffery little jerks because they're just jerks. They're little kids trying to learn how to wrestle, kicking each other, tripping each other. But I have a dad who he brings his kid a lot. And once a month, his kid's like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, you're doing it. And I'm like, dude, just take him home. It's okay. Give him a popsicle. Take him home. He got the rest of his life. Like if your kid don't want to go to practice one day, it's okay. You got the rest of your life. I
Yeah.
didn't do that. My daughters, both my daughters, Jersey and Zale, wrestled 200 matches a year for 10 years. They already lived the whole life. By the time they got ready to go to college, they were like, Dad, we're tired. We don't want to do this anymore. We already done wrestled a whole career. I mean, and that's what youth parents don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, we're going to Tulsa Nationals this year. Coach Jake take his kids, I'm taking my kids, but our philosophy and our mindset's different. Like, we're just here to get exposed, get some work in. If we win, cool, cool. After Tulsa, let's take a little break. To have when you get a break policy, right? I've done everything wrong in this sport, and so I'm a good model to be able to say, coaches, parents, do this, like, and parents and coaches and everybody have the guts, man. I'm a really intense person. People are like, oh, you get unhinged sometimes. I'm like, well, then just come up, put your hands on my shoulder. I mean, love me. I need a hug. I mean, come on. Right? And we don't do that enough in this wrestling community. We see a dad yelling at his kid, and we're like, oh, that jerk. And we walk away.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just needs a hug, man. He just spent 2 grand to drive all the way across the country, and his kid didn't perform the way he thought he did. I need a hug when that happens. you know, and we're always shaming the person. We're posting a picture of him online from behind the corner. Look at this guy yelling at his kid, right? So it's just a culture that we have to reinvent over and over and work on it. I have to work on it all the time. Don't get me wrong. I yell and I yell at refs the most that I have to stop doing that. But
Yeah.
I did better this year at Fargo than I ever have. I
Progress,
took all
not
the ref stuff
perfection.
and said, yeah,
Progress,
it is
not
what it
perfection.
is. That's
Yep.
how they're gonna ref it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we're going to close out with this, Jeff. You've coached wrestlers, you've dealt with parents, and now you're running a really great wrestling business. When you look at wrestling, the wrestling world today, what do you think we're getting right, and what do you think we're getting completely wrong?
Man, those are some deep questions. We're getting it right because this is what I told the guy yesterday. I said, we're creating clubs and wrestling, right? Not everybody. The Panhandle isn't. I can't be successful in the Panhandle if there aren't other clubs for me to wrestle. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's gonna fit with me. Okay, Bay County has rose up into 30, 40, 50 kids without Bay County being in here. Who's gonna wrestle? It's just me wrestling me, right? I got a bunch of little kids. I think that what we're doing right is we're building clubs everywhere. Everybody should be encouraged. Oh, you don't like the way your coach coaching with you? Go start a club then and wrestle, right?
Right,
And we got to be okay with. There's a good place of animosity, right? There's a good place where you can be like, I don't on the mat. You ain't my friend today. We're gonna beat you, and then afterwards be like, hey, good job, right? We see that a lot in MMA and in two guys talking smack and hate each other, but then after the war they're like, good job. I think we don't. We everybody wants to be everybody's friend and come together, and I'm not. That's not. That's definitely not me. Like I'll be your friend. Like me and another our rival club can go eat. I love like lobster brisket. Oh, we can go eat a good lobster brisket. But don't message me and ask me to bring my club over to work out with you. Like you can ask me to come over and duel you in your club. Like I'm all for that. I'm old school like that. But I'm not trying to cross train. I don't believe cross training. That's the one thing I see bad with parents is they take their kids to 50 different places, and now this kid's got so much different technique he can't even hone in on one thing. We're really specific. Like if someone brings their kid to me, I'm like, you want to get this success? Just drill my technique. We're going to drill it over and over and over, And so I think we got to do that. And then just being okay with like having to all, like, someone pops up a club in your town, be like, oh, they're going to steal our kids. I had to learn this on. I'm really like we're like I said, Jesus had three. Like I'm really close to athletes, but it's okay if they leave. Like that, people are only with you for a moment in time sometimes. Like I've had people that I loved and they were really close to me, and then they had to move on. It's okay. Like I'm not for everybody all the time. Some people can handle me, so be okay with that. Coaches, be okay with athletes. Parents, here's something I would tell a parent: you leave a club once, it's okay. You're in four clubs a year. I don't know. I need yourself, right? There's probably something wrong. You can't find anywhere satisfying, but don't be scared to move. I'll back up tomorrow if I find athletes I love. No one holds me anywhere. So everybody's asking, what's Nova doing? We don't know. Now we're ready for Sweden.
When are you guys going to Sweden?
So we go to Sweden, and it's open to anybody. Anybody can go to Sweden. We literally go to Super 32 the on Sunday for the girls, and then we go to the airport and fly right out. We have a training camp that starts on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We to Estrada and we weigh in, and then we wrestle the tournament. It's all ages. I mean, my youngest audio wrestler at 8 years old. I'm taking a 10-year-old. Like we take young kids. It's $2,500. Everything's included, food, everything. But it's not your normal like what you see somebody posting like tours. Like we're not going in. We'll go sightseeing. We went to the pirate ship. That's the coolest thing we did. But we're trained. They train 3 times a day. We train with the Swedish national team, and so it's just a good trip to get kids out of the country, get it overseas. It ain't the Olympics. It ain't World Team Trials. It's a good, solid tournament to go to. It's a lot of fun. We've been going for the last 2 years, and so I'd encourage some big clubs to try to jump on stuff like that. There's a bunch that are happening. It's becoming more popular.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you spending some time with us here at Grinding for Greatness. I love you, bro. I think what you're doing for the kids in our state is absolutely tremendous. Keep doing what you're doing. Like you said, you're not everyone's cup of tea, but who cares, man? Some will, some won't. Who cares? Let's move on. That's what I say. But thanks for coming on. We'll have you on again. I want my pair of jams. Let me know how much they are. I'll send it to you. I gotta have a pair of TFWR jams. I just gotta have them.
Yeah, I'll get them mocked up today, and I'll get them to you within a couple weeks
That'd be
because that's how
awesome, man.
fast I am.
That's awesome, man. So again,
All
thank you for
right,
coming on. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck. Have a great time in Sweden.
I will. Thank you.
All right, my brother. Have a good one. You take care. All right, bye.